Hello, everybody. Michelle is back. I'll take a little break and then start talking about some things about when I first moved out on my own in my 20s and how unprepared I was. I was just so unprepared and at the same time so stubborn and just, thinking I knew everything that I was supposed to do and thinking I was so prepared. And, thankfully, things turned out the way they did. Because otherwise, I don't know. Because we always think we know more than we do. And we just need to admit that. In most cases, we don't know. And every time my parents would say, tell me to do this, tell me to do that, I would say, oh, I know. And I ain't know shit. All right? I didn't know shit. And, but yet I thought I could handle things. I handled it. Okay, but I made things, worse than they needed to be. I really did. And so some of the things, I just wasn't paying attention to. And my dad kept telling me, because he kept teaching me things. And he didn't, I didn't pay attention to the fact that that's what he was doing. And that's what parents do. That's what guardians do. That's what people who you look up to, they're supposed to be teaching you, or walking the talk, or living by example, living by example. And so that's what he was always doing. That's why I appreciate him so much, because he understood me more so than my mom. My mom was more of an emotional feeling type of person. She was always in her emotions, always in her emotions. And my dad was more like a vision type of person, a visionary type person, meaning he can see stuff and he can fix anything. Anything that was wrong or broke down, the man can fix anything. And again, my brothers do not come anywhere near the skills and abilities my dad had. He was brilliant. Okay, he was. He could fix anything. He didn't have to go, because he had to drop out of school early because he had to take care of, family matters. And that's another thing in itself too. One day I'll go into that. But so he kept telling me to pay attention to my vehicle, And of course, I know, me, I know. And he kept warning me about this. I kept warning me about that. I wasn't listening to him at all. I was listening, but then I kept thinking, oh, I don't need to be told that. It's just immature, underdeveloped, person, thinking we know everything and thinking we're so grown and that nobody needs to tell us what to do, and those, again, I made it through, but I made things so much more harder than they ought to be, just not by just calming down and get that ego out of the way. The ego, you need to develop an ego. That's, let's not kid ourselves. You do need an ego, okay? Because you can't survive without one. But the ego does not run the show, okay? And that takes experience to figure that out. Because you can say all you want, okay? You can if you're not experiencing things to understand exactly what that means, you have to walk the talk with that. You have to be involved in situations that you're going to see who's in charge and who isn't. Okay, and it's not your ego. Okay, it's usually your instincts, okay, or your gut, or the other senses, the natural senses you have. So, but he kept warning me about my vehicle, check this, check that. At least he did show me how to change, So in other words, he taught me things like changing tires, checking the oil. And this is back, keep in mind, this is back before everything was, more, kind of electronic or, more technology. And, we got electric vehicles, we got this and that and the other. And so, so we rely so much on technology, again, with our vehicles, meaning, all the vehicles are computerized. You remember we had that crisis with the chips, and guess what happened? You see how, see what I mean? We have technology that we can't even control and handle. And yet, when a little chip went down, it caused mayhem and chaos, So it's so important to know how to figure out how to keep yourself safe and understand the type of vehicles you're driving. Okay, so if it's electrical, if this happens, you really have to do this kind of stuff. Because I remember when in my former job before I retired, some people were driving these electric vehicles, and then when the vehicles ran out of gas, or they ran out of charge, and there was no charging station anywhere, and so these people were left stranded, in certain places and unsafe situations. Because like with me, when I first moved out on my own, my vehicle broke down. I'm at a shopping mall, for what reason, I don't know. I can't remember. And the vehicle broke down and I had to walk 10 miles home. And I had on shorts and flip-flops and a t-shirt in the summer. Okay, and so when I made it back to my apartment finally, the blisters were all over my feet, because I was wearing flip-flops, wasn't prepared, shorts and a t-shirt. And so I walked and walked and walked, and that was 10 miles. Okay. And I would stop every now and then to get something to drink. And I remember, when I walked into one of these restaurants, I asked for a cup of water or something. I said, can I have some water or something? And I remember the manager came over to me and said, is everything okay? And I sit there and say, oh yeah, everything's fine. No, the fuck it wasn't. Shit. I'm walking, I got flip-flops on, shorts, t-shirt, and my vehicle broke down, But I said, oh no, everything's fine. Just, just like being so, And back then we didn't have cell phones. So when that woman came to me and asked me, can she help me? I should have said, yes, can you call somebody? I could have had her call somebody, my parents, But that was that stubborn ego that's, that just said, no, oh no, everything's fine. No, the fuck it wasn't. Like I said, it was not fine. So when I finally did get home, like I said, the blisters, because this was on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I had blisters all over. I mean, they were open wound blisters. And I can remember falling down on the ground thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have a vehicle. I have to get to work. And so, I don't know. Oh, so like I said, I'm laying on the floor inside my apartment, not on the ground, but inside my apartment on the floor, looking up, thinking, what the hell am I going to do without my vehicle? I got to get to work. So somehow, stuff started popping into my head as to what I need to do. And so basically I had to get on public transportation. That's what I had to do. And then, I don't know how I managed to, and then I determined that I did have some type of insurance on the vehicle, blah, blah, blah. So luckily I had that type of insurance, that when it was reasonable and necessary type of insurance. You really need to research insurance now, because we know what that involves. Sometimes you get more than you need. But anyway, or more is something you don't ever use. So thankfully I had that type of insurance on the vehicle. And so I ended up having to take public transportation. Thankfully that public transportation was right online as to where I had to go to my job. So, you just have to know, you just have to be prepared. And you need to make sure you have reliable transportation, always. And, just to keep yourself safe. Know how to do something with that vehicle you're driving. Okay, whether it's changing tires, something. You need to know how to manage the type of vehicle you have and how to repair stuff if you need to, if you're on the side of the road, you know, and this and that and the other. So I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to come back again in a little later in the day and tell you some more things about my experience, you know, when I first moved out on my own and how my ego, you know, I know. You ever meet people like that? Oh, I know. And then they'll throw they, you know, yeah, I got a degree in blah, blah, blah. I have a associate in this. I have skills in that, you know, and that's how it was for me. Just being all defensive. Look, I'm a grown-ass woman, you know, and all this foolishness and carrying on. Like, shit, you know. Because if somebody's coming to you, you just need to listen to them and not dismiss them. Because they probably just, you know, trying to warn you about something. You know, just don't dismiss them. Just say, okay. And then, you know, but if you don't feel safe, of course. But I was in a restaurant when this woman came to me. It was the manager, as a matter of fact, when I was in that restaurant. And I'm sitting down. She knew something was wrong. That's why she came to me and asked me, can I help? And oh, no, you know, this foolishness, okay? It's foolishness. So I'll come back later and talk about some other things with that experience and other experiences I had so that you can avoid stuff, unnecessary stuff that is going to get you out of trouble, you know, because we're all going to be faced with something. All right? We will be faced with something. So you need to know how to do something with your vehicle. Okay, whether it's your vehicle, your bicycle, your motorcycle, whatever your transportation is. And if you take public transportation, what if that's breaking? What if that is not available? You know, you need to be able to think things through like that and have a plan. And then have a backup plan and another backup plan. You know, it's about survival. It really is. It's about survival. And you really need to pay attention to that. Okay? So I'll come back later and talk some more. Peace and love, everybody.